What's going on, Falcon fan? This is Warakundo coming back at you with another video. So today we're going to talk about different scenarios for the quarterback position for these Atlanta Falcons going into the 2024 season. Different ways they can look at it. Who's going to be that sitting caller going into the season? Is it long-term plan? What are they're thinking? A lot of things really going to determine what this season is going to be like based off that quarterback position. Now, in my opinion, this is one of the most interesting things and storylines that's going to be for the Atlanta Falcons and for the new coach, Raheem Morris, to start his second, head coach tenure off on the right step. So this is an important decision. And we're going to look at some of the different ways the Atlanta Falcons can, approach this quarterback scenario and what they potentially do, right? This is really important. They got to be able to figure this out. If they're not able to figure it out, we can be a little bit more weak with what we've seen this past season. And guys, none of us want that. See, I got my hat on backwards, this just in honor of Raheem Morris, how he kind of rep, the backwards hat. So I'm going to ride with that today. Also, guys, one other thing we'll talk about some coaching updates, assistant coaches that Raheem Morris has decided to keep on the staff, and potential, rumors out there that coaches that could be coming to the staff. So with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys are here to talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in here. We talk about that's these Atlanta Falcons. So like I said, guys, we're going to first talk about the assistant coaches that Raheem Morris are retaining. Of course, we know that he's currently retaining our special teams coordinator, Marquise Williams. He actually had a job offer from the New England Patriots, but he kind of declined that job to stay with the Atlanta Falcons. So we already have a little continuity there. That's one good thing that you got to like from a special teams standpoint. Having Marquise Williams back in the fold, I think that's going to really bode well for this organization. Got a coach that's here that knows the players already, that can kind of blend that new coaching staff with the old. Right. Also, we got Dwayne Ledford, who's our offensive line coach, who's definitely a must-have back because our offensive line is intact. So Dwayne Ledford is coming back. That's really, really a good thing as well. People don't realize Dwayne Ledford was the offensive coordinator for Louisville before he became the offensive, line coach for the Atlanta Falcons. So he does have background, being able, and if you go back and look at those Louisville teams, that running game was always dynamic. Getting those running backs, the offensive linemen to create their running game, and we can see, his ability to communicate with our offensive line here. So bringing Dwayne Ledford back, that'd be good. There's rumors out there that he might be, in charge of, the run game itself. Because our offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson, has a lot of more, experience, being that passing game coordinator, what he did with the Rams. So that's really good having Dwayne Ledford back. So keep our offensive line intact. Those guys are all pretty, solid, young offensive line. Of course, except for Jake Matthews, but you love to see Dwayne Ledford back. Also, Raheem Morris is keeping our running backs coach, Michael Petrie. That's good. Our two dynamic running backs that we have, and Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson. So both of those guys get to keep their coach as well. He's done a great job with our running back. So good that Michael Petrie is back. And then TJ Yates. Of course, TJ Yates was brought in last year to be our wide receivers coach, a former quarterback in the NFL, but sounds like he's actually going to be changing roles too to be their quarterback coach, which probably makes more sense, for TJ Yates to actually be the quarterback's coach, because that's what he did in in NFL, and he can work with the quarterbacks, whoever quarterbacks. We're going to talk, we're going to get into the quarterbacks in just a minute, but he can definitely, work with the quarterbacks. We definitely need the quarterbacks coach. I think that's one of the things that definitely probably could have hurt our quarterback room this year, even though they were going acting as the quarterback / offensive coordinator coach, but I think we actually needed a true quarterback coach in there, especially with that young Desmond Ritter, and it could have stunted his growth a little bit because he did not have a quarterback coach there. So and TJ Yates on, put him in his right, I think, position as the quarterback coach. And now what they really need to do is actually get a wide receiver coach. Somebody can teach these wide receivers how to run good, precise routes, understanding the depth, the breaks, being able to get the timing down with the quarterback, which is really important in the West Coast offense anyway. So that's one of the things I think that they really need to do, is get off wide receiver coach. So we'll be interested to see where Raheem Morris should go in that direction. So those are the guys so far that the Atlanta Falcons has reportedly Raheem Morris going to be keeping on the staff. And like I said, you like the continuity that he's actually, bringing here. That's one good thing I do like. So, glad these guys are still with the team. So that's good. Offensive side, almost set. We still need a wide receiver coach, like I said. And he's going to build other, assistants around all those guys. So you got to love to see that. Jackson say, what's good, Rakunder? Man, major moves happen in Atlanta. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. If you guys haven't heard the press conference for Coach Morris is going to be February 5th. No time yet, but I can't wait to get and see what he's talking about. Hopefully, he can shed a little more light, on his plans, his vision, what we want to do, and things like that. One in particular, of course, they're going to ask about the quarterback position. I know that's going to be a hot topic when he actually get up and speak, to the media for the first time as the Atlanta Falcons' new head coach. Another report that was out there that Jimmy Lake could be our defensive coordinator. Now, a lot of people like, who is Jimmy Lake, right? I be honest with you guys, I had to look it up too, and find out who he was, but he was the actually assistant head coach for the Los Angeles Rams this past season. His background, so just know he's just not going out getting some guy off the streets that that a lot of people have heard of, but Jimmy Ward actually was coaching in the Pac-12 at Washington. His stats as the DC in 2018, he was first with 16.4 points a game and first in yardage as well, 306. So that tells you he does have ability to be a defensive coordinator. He was a head coach in 2020, 2021, where his defense was second in points and first in yards in 2020, and fourth in points and second in yards in 2021. So, like I said, good stats. Pac-12, we know Pac-12 like to put up a lot of points. So being able to actually have those kind of numbers in the Pac-12, it's good. Where usually there's not a lot of defense in the Pac-12 anyway. So they'll just let you know, like I said, his past year, he was with the Los Angeles Rams as the assistant head coach. So another guy that was actually with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back, in the early 2000s, as well as a defensive back coach. So most of his background is being a defensive back coach, elevating himself to be a defensive coordinator. Does have ties with Raheem Morris. And like I said, guys, before we even went down this coaching search, when the head coach come in, he always going to bring guys that he comfortable with, that he trusts, that he knows that's going to be able to ride with him. So it hasn't been solidified, anything like that Jimmy Lake is going to be our defensive coordinator, but it is a report out there that he could potentially guy. So still word out on that. We'll have to see, how that pans out. We haven't heard of any other names. We did hear about the defensive coordinator from the Philadelphia Eagles was had interest in him, and then the defensive line coach from the Dallas Cowboys as well. So those are only names we have heard so far about defensive coordinator. Probably by February 5th, before Raheem Morris actually decide to give his press conference, most of his coaching staff probably would be solidified. So we'll just have to see how that work pan out. All right. Just give you a little bit more information about Jimmy Lake here. Some of the guys he actually coached in college, right? And I thought this was really good information, to glean off, because some of these guys could potentially be, free agency. So you kind of like try to put, things together and kind of get an idea of, the pedigree of a coach he was, what kind of guys he coached. And he coached guys like Marcus Peters, Shaq Thompson, Buda Baker, Vita Vea, Kelvin King, Byron Murphy, Taylor Rapp, Greg Gaines, Trent McDuffie. See what I'm saying, guys? A lot of good defensive backs on that list. So I like I said, background is definitely defensive backfield. What that means for a guy like Jerry Gray and Steven Jackson, I don't know. If they was to bring in a guy like Jimmy Lake in, I think that collaboration would be good with having those guys on the staff as well. So we'll just have to see. So on the defense side of the ball, not enough information yet to determine who's going to be the coaches on the defense side of the ball, but the offensive side is starting to take shape. So that's where we're at. That's our coaching update as of right now for these Atlanta Falcons. Now let's get into the topic today. The topic today is all about the different scenarios for the quarterback position. I told you guys I was going to come back here and talk about this, and really there are only 3, different avenues, approaches that I think the Atlanta Falcons can definitely take, to get the quarterback that they need this season. So first of all, let's talk about who's already on the roster. Of course, we know we have Desmond Ridder is under contract. Also, Taylor Heinicke. Atlanta Falcons can clear up cap space if they decide to cut Taylor Heinicke. So that could be a route that they decide to go. We don't know. But if they was to want to clear up some cap space and get more cap on the books, they could actually go the route of actually cutting Taylor Heinicke. But as of right now, on the roster for the Atlanta Falcons, we have Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heinicke, right? So that's where we're at today. More than likely, I anticipate another Sidney Collins is going to be, brought in, and that's the question. In what shape or form are they going to go and actually acquire this new signal caller, right? So like I said, there's 3 different ways they can go about it. They can go about it via draft, free agency, or they can do trade, right? Those would be the 3 options that the Atlanta Falcons could take to actually, get the quarterback that they want, right? So like I said earlier, the question would be what direction they're going in. Is it for a bridge quarterback? They're looking to get some kind of bridge quarterback when they get a rookie, right? Or are they trying to get a quarterback that's going to stay for them for the future, right, of the franchise, right, the face of the franchise? That's one of the questions they definitely need to be asking themselves. Let's go down each scenario, and that's where I wanted to go with it. So let's go down the draft scenario, right? Right. So if the Atlanta Falcons decide to draft a quarterback, a rookie out of this year's draft class, right? So we're looking at if they decide to go in the first round, and let's just say they decide to stay pat at number 8, right? I think it's it's probably a known decision that the first three draft picks in this year draft more than likely is going to be quarterback position. So right, so we have to look at that. So the first three picks probably in this year draft is going to be quarterback. So we're going to take off those first three quarterbacks, right? We're going to take off, not in any order, Caleb Williams, Jalen Daniels, and Drake May, right? More than likely, I anticipate the Chicago Bears, the Washington Commanders, and the New England Patriots to actually take a quarterback. Now, they could go another route and get a veteran, just like the Atlanta Falcons. They have the same opportunity to go get trade, or draft, right? Or go into free agency. They have the same opportunity just like that. So it depends where they think their franchise is right now and what decision they want to make, right? Now, Chicago is in the most interesting spot because they have a young quarterback already on the squad, and we know who that is. That's Justin Fields, right? So if they decide that they're going to move on from Justin Fields, that open up, Justin Fields to trade talks for other teams around the league, including our Atlanta Falcons, right? So we'll talk about that when we go down the trade route. So they could trade Justin Fields. Even if they do that, like I said, more than likely they're definitely taking a quarterback at number one, right? Which leads the next two teams to take a quarterback, right? Like I said, they can go ahead and make a decision. For example, the Washington Commanders does have a young quarterback in Sam Howell, on the roster already. I don't know what the new coach would think about Sam Howell. Do he think that Sam Howell is a guy that he want to, lead and take this team forward, or do he want to go out and actually get a veteran? Right? Maybe he's ready to trade for a veteran quarterback himself, or he could go into free agency and get a couple of free agents. One particular, Kirk Cousins, that's out there who's asking for $90 million right now, who haven't even recovered from his Achilles. Potentially Russell Wilson could definitely be on the cut block for the Denver Broncos, and if that's the case, he will be a free agent as well. So those two guys in particular, I would look at teams going to those veteran guys. They're older guys, they're 35-year-olds. So if the Atlanta Falcons wanting to go that route, if teams wanting to go that route, they definitely could, right? So they're just talking about the three teams. So, but in my opinion, I think all three of these teams are going to take a quarterback, right? So that means the top three quarterbacks are off the board automatically, right? So at number 8, in my opinion, I don't know if the other three quarterbacks that you would consider as a top 10 quarterback. Now it's early in the draft process, right? We haven't seen pro days, we haven't seen the combine, none of that stuff. We know Michael Penix Jr. is at the Senior Bowl this week, so it is some things where these guys' stock can definitely go up, right, and change everything. We see what happened is Zach Wilson, right? His stock went up tremendously. He got picked number, second overall. So it could happen, right? So I'm not saying that, any of those, the last three guys I'm talking about, Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., and JJ McCarthy, right? Those three quarterbacks would definitely be probably the next three on the list that, somebody would consider. The question is, do anybody consider those guys in the top 10, right? And if so, the Atlanta Falcons could pull the trigger at number 8. In my opinion, I don't think they would go that route, but you never know, right? Because this is a new regime. Terry Fontenot is still there. However, we don't know the opinions that they have on these quarterback. Like, for an example, the Atlanta Falcons could have Michael Penix Jr. rated higher than the three quarterbacks I just called out with the the 1, 2, 3 pick, and Williams, Daniels, and May, right? That could be the case. If that's the case, they feel like they're getting a bargain getting Penix Jr. at number 8. So we don't know, the direction that they go in. But if they wanted to go that route and get one of these other three quarterbacks, Penix Jr., Bo Nix, or JJ McCarthy, they could definitely pull the trigger at number 8, and we would have a quarterback Now, it's a quarterback we desire as a fan base. I'm gonna say probably not, especially not at number 8, and it'll be the 4th year in a row that Atlanta Falcons have went offense in the top 10, right? Where we definitely could use some defense. So it would be something to think about if the Atlanta Falcons decide to pick a quarterback at number 8. Now, another option, the Atlanta Falcons can actually move up, right? And this is the option that, I would recommend if I was running the team, and I would definitely move up to one of those top 3 spots to get one of those 3 quarterbacks that I'm talking about right now. So potentially, so for an example, if the Bears decide to keep Justin Fields, I definitely would try to trade up to number 1 and get one of those quarterbacks. So that definitely could be an option. It's trending now that the Bears more than likely probably is going to move on from Justin Fields. Just because from a football operation standpoint, it's smart to do. They can reset their clock. Their team is not a quarterback away, from winning right now. They need to build a team. So being able to trade, Justin Fields away so they can reset their window with their young quarterback would be smart to do. Right, then they can actually build around that young quarterback. So that's what I think they're going to do. And if that's the case, right, now the Atlanta Falcons can definitely maybe trade for Justin Fields. But if they do decide to keep Justin Fields, now the Atlanta Falcons can trade up to their number 1 spot, right? And then we can take the quarterback of our choosing. Yes, it is going to cost draft capital. We got to look at the numbers on that. I'm not sure how many first round picks are already in the top 10 to move up from number 8 to number 1. It could be costly, but I don't think it'd be as costly as moving. You're already in the top 10, so you're only moving up 7 spots. So definitely, a thing that they might consider, right? Especially if they see one of these guys in the draft, like a Jaden Daniels, which a lot of I know Falcon fans like, including myself, Caleb Williams, who just have some of those uncoachable traits that you already have, that could potentially be a dynamic young quarterback as well. Drake May, has the prototypical size, arm, things like that. So any 3 of those guys, the Atlanta Falcons want to go that route, they can actually move up to number 1. I don't think they'll be able to move to number 2 or 3 because I don't see any of those teams trading out of those spots to actually move to number 8 because they're drafting a quarterback. So only option, in my opinion, for Atlanta Falcons to move up in the draft is if the scenario where the Bears decides to keep Justin Fields and they want to move out of the number one slot. That's really just my only opinion by Atlanta Falcons moving up. And if that's the case, like I said, they'll have their pick of any of those 3 guys. Right now, top of most people draft boards, especially at the quarterback's position. So that's one of the options that the Atlanta Falcons do in the draft, right? They can actually stay at number 8, pick one of those 3 quarterbacks that's not going to get picked in the top 3, and Penix Jr., Nix, or McCarthy. They can definitely go that route. I would not recommend it. However, if they want to pick one of those 3 guys, they will have to move up to probably the number 1 overall pick and get the quarterback of their choosing, which they will definitely be giving up some draft capital there. So those are the scenarios for the draft, right? Now, it is a scenario where the Atlanta Falcons could go in later rounds, like if one of these guys, so Penix Jr., or Knicks fall, in the 2nd or 3rd round, they can definitely go that route. And in this scenario, if they, go outside the 1st round and pick a quarterback, I would think they probably going to go veteran quarterback, via free agency maybe, and sign a veteran, and then you will have a bridge quarterback there to groom one of your young quarterbacks that you take in 2nd round or something like that. So like I said, guys, it's wide open for this team. So many different scenarios that they can actually decide to choose. I just think we don't know which route they're going to take, right? And then we don't know how the certain teams, like we don't know, when and if Russell Wilson going to actually get cut. Is really trending that way that's going to happen. We don't know how healthy Kirk Cousins is going to be, if anybody's definitely going to give him what he's asking for at 2-year $90 million. So those are the things that we're definitely got to consider, going to get, free agent quarterbacks. Trade candidates, only other trade candidate I can think about is a Justin Fields. If you want to make a trade for him, that would be the route that you can go. So James said the Falcons have announced that Jimmy Lake will be the team so they just announced it. Awesome. Thanks for the update, man. And I'll definitely be coming out with a video on that right after this. So appreciate it. Appreciate it for the update. Let me know about the Jimmy Lake. And I just talked about him. He has showed a lot of acumen being that defensive coordinator, especially in college. If you go back and look at all the guys that he have coached in college that became all pros in the NFL, and you like that track record there, which is really, really impressive. Guys like Buda Baker, Marcus Peters, Vita Vea, all those guys, like any of those guys free agents. We definitely, because they know their coach, they'll definitely might want to come play for him. So that's good, right? We like that. That's what we want to see. So appreciate that, James. Let me know about that. All right, guys. So that's the draft scenario, right? Like I said, it's real detailed. It's a lot of things you can think about when the draft, but the Atlanta Falcons move up number 1. I think that's the only way they'll be able to get a rookie quarterback, moving all the way at number 1, giving up draft capital, or staying pat at number 8 and picking one of the guys that does not get drafted in the top 3. That's one of the scenarios do. Or they can, wait to set later rounds and draft the guy. They want to draft the quarterback, right? My recommendation, if you're going to draft, right, you need to move up all the way up. I talked about this earlier. Atlanta Falcons need to make a splash. They need to do something big, right? So, my opinion, if you're going to go for a franchise quarterback, go get the best one that you think the best one. So, the way to do that, you go to number 1, right? That's what Carolina did. Even if maybe they got it wrong. And guess what? You can definitely get it wrong, right? You can move up number 1 and number 2. Like this year, CJ Stroud looked better than number 1. But throughout the years, still, it's not over for Bryce Young. He still could come out and have a pretty good career. So, not just saying that, just because you pick your number 1 and then turn out the first season. So Carolina wanted their best quarterback they thought in the draft. They moved up to number 1. If Atlanta want to do that, that's what I think they should do. Yes, you're giving up draft capital, but you're trying to find your franchise quarterback. If anybody watch this weekend's in championship games, if you don't have a quarterback, you might as well just cancel Christmas, man. It's a wrap. You're not going anywhere, right? The quarterback play was really good, especially for Kansas City. We know about Patrick Mahomes, nothing to say that, but you got to tip your hat off to Mr. Irrelevant himself, Brock Purdy, the way he played as well. But that's the kind of play you're going to need when you're in the playoffs. You need guys that are going to make plays. I thought Jared Goff played decent as well. Lamar Jackson, I thought he played into their hands, right? He didn't do what he's supposed to do and be the dynamic quarterback that he should have been, right? So he still got room to grow himself. I thought the game plan against Lamar worked, and he fell right into the trap They wanted him to be a pocket passer, and he fell into it. That's what he did. So, but my point is, if you watch this weekend championship game, you need a quarterback, and if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have nothing. So I'm standing strong on that. So if Atlanta want to shoot for the draft and go get the guy, they might as well do number one and go get him, right? And that's only if Chicago deciding to stay with Justin Fields. Let's look at some of these. James said, build the O-line. One thing for sure, the NFC South is wide open right now. 100%. That's you can't make that up. It's 100% wide open, right? And you know the interesting thing about it is, I guess Todd Bowles is the the best coach. We're gonna come find out. We'll see how good he is, right? I think it's wide open. Have y'all given up on Ritter? Have we given up on Ritter? Personally, for me, I think Ritter is a backup quarterback. That's just my opinion. Just too many mistakes, too many turnovers. I mean, honestly, it's not 100% clean for him because, Arthur Smith did not help him out as much as he should have. But from what I've seen, I'm not sold on Desmond Ritter. And the way most people talk, they're not sold as well. So if we can see it and everybody else saying the same thing, that Atlanta need a quarterback, because the word is, if Atlanta had a quarterback this season, we would have been one of those teams in the playoffs, right? That's the way it's been spoke, and that's where the talking points have been throughout the whole season, right? So, a lot of those people have, watched quarterbacks way longer than me, and I ain't see nobody saying that, yeah, he just needed to be in the other system. He made too many mistakes. He's talented, but he just made too many mistakes. So personally, for me, yes, I'm not giving up on him. I think he can be a great backup quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. Mr. Mills said, hold up, Rakunda. Ain't no quarterback scenario. Only quarterback we're grabbing is Bo. Come on, man. You tripping. You tripping, dog. Don't Bo Nix, man. Don't say Bo Nix. Look, all I gotta say about Bo Nix, he was with Auburn for 3 years, right? So I watched a lot of Bo Nix. We played him every year as dogs. And what he did at Oregon, don't erase what he did at Auburn. So I'm sorry. He's an athlete. He is an athletic guy. He's an athlete, but I don't know if he's ever going to be a pro quarterback. That's just me. I could be wrong. Sometimes guys, do what they do in college, and you never know. It's a crapshoot anyway. But if you get Bo Nix, you get him later in the later rounds. You definitely won't pick him at number 8. I can tell you that much. And if they do, that means our scouting department just lost it all of a sudden. Millie Mills, we getting Penix. There you go, Penix Jr. Everybody like Penix. I'm kind of iffy about Penix, man, because of those injuries he had, and so that's why I'm kind of iffy on that. That's what it is for me. I just if he could get a clean bill of health, yes, I'm rocking with Penix Jr. And guys, be honest with you, Penix Jr. could shoot up the draft boards quick. He really could, because the kid can play. He got an arm on him. And then, something about those left-handed quarterback guys, they just, they got that different brain, they think differently. So he could be the guy. So don't be surprised if Penix actually shoot up the draft boards before April. So that's one thing we definitely got to consider. Only thing Ritter can offer is a good cadence. That's about it. Yeah, he did draw people off sides, man. That's true. They said the same thing about Mahomes. You said Lamar was trying to do Mahomes. Yeah, Lamar need to be Lamar, man. He need to be Lamar. All right, we got 3 Dirty. 3 Dirty said something about Chicago Bears. Let's see what he had to say. If Chicago stays with Fields, they will shop the freight. That's when we would know. If so, they decide to stay with Fields, right? I don't think they are. I really don't. I just think that the general manager did not draft Fields, right? And if he's smart, if he's just smart, right? He would probably want to reset his own clock, right? I'm just saying because in this year, next year, that's it, right? If Fields don't pan out, guys, these owners don't have patience. So I'm telling you, it's smart for him to reset his clock, right? If he's able to do that and get a young quarterback, now he have 5 years to build around that quarterback before that quarterback is time for a big deal for him. So I would think that they're going to trade Justin Fields. And we don't we don't know what Atlanta think about Justin Fields. We really don't. So it's not like he lit up the league the last 3 seasons. So like we don't know the opinion on Justin Fields. We know he have God-gifted talent. We seen that. We seen it in flashes. But shit, we seen flashes in Desmond Ridder as well. So like you have to be smart and know that if you get a guy like Justin Fields, you can actually be able to create an offense and cater around his skill set for him to be successful. Sort of like what the Philadelphia Eagles did for Jalen Hurts, right? Sort of like what the Baltimore Ravens have done for Lamar Jackson, because the skill set that he has, that's God-given, right? But if you don't know how to use it, you don't know how to use him correct way, it's not going to pan out. And, it could be the wrong way to go. One good thing about trading for a guy like Justin Fields, though, is the fact that you got him for 2 seasons, right? You got him for this season, next season, before you have to pay him. So you don't have to actually pay him right away like people thinking. You have to pick up his fair option. I would suggest you would do that. But after that, you don't have to actually go out and give him a big contract yet because he still haven't proven himself to warrant a big contract. So the Atlanta Falcons have, if they was to trade for Justin Fields, they would have this year and next year to do that. So that's one of the things that definitely can be considered. Billy Mills says, nah, for real, Ricondo, I want Daniels like a mofo. I think Terry does too. Those LSU games here. But see, this the thing about it. Daniels is electric, man. But unless the Atlanta Falcons get to the number 1 pick, they won't get Daniels. Because they're not going to be able to trade with the Commanders and the Patriots because they're taking a quarterback. So the Falcons can get to the number 1 pick, they won't be able to get Jaden Daniels. I just don't see it happening. So that's why this offseason is going to be really interesting from quarterback standpoint because it's been a while since the first 3 teams in the draft need a quarterback, and they could go 1, 2, 3, and then like I said, we don't know if Penix Jr. going to actually jump somebody because he definitely could. He could rise up draft boards quick. Zach Wilson did. Sometimes some teams are dumb and they draft the wrong quarterback. So it happens. It definitely happens. And then Jalen Daniels somehow fall. Yeah, I can see that happen, but I do not see it happening. Billy Mills said, I think Tyler, AJ, or Grady might be one of the players we got to move. Yeah, I don't think we need to move a player. I think we just have to move a draft capital, because we're at number 8, so we don't have to move like coming from the teens or the 20s to move up, right? Those where you have to give up a lot of picks and a lot of capital, right? So I don't think, I see a lot of people putting players in the, I mean, to move up 7 spots, we got to give up players. I don't believe it. I just don't see that happen. I don't think we have to give a player to move 7 spots, right? We had to move some draft capital, maybe 2 firsts, this year's and next year's or something like that, and maybe a third. But I don't see us giving up, players to move up 7 spots. I just don't see that. Neely Mill said the combine will determine it all. Well, the combine, pro days, one thing they always say, you got to go back to the tape, but you do have combine warriors, because you look at the kid from Florida, his combine got him drafted really high, right? So you are 100% correct about that. The combine definitely could change minds, right? I mean, you look at our guy from Georgia a couple of years ago, went over Agent Hutchinson, number 1 overall, because what he was able to do at the combine. So sometimes the combine does raise your stock. It's no doubt about that. So you are 100% correct. The combine will determine a lot of things for, and hopefully for a lot of times the combine just confirm things, right? So that helps coaches, and scouts and front office personnel a lot as well. Just confirms like what they saw on tape. That's what you're really trying to do at the combines and at pro days and things like that. What I see on tape, is it confirmation of what he's doing right now, right? That's what they got to do. All right. So when I talk about trades, really that's the only trade I probably would make, is make a trade for Justin Fields. Just because of his potential. It would have to be a good trade package though. I wouldn't trade a first, no way. Kind of iffy even on a second round pick, because like I said, Justin Field has not shocked the world these first 3 seasons. So I don't understand why anybody would say he would garner a first round pick. And like I said, it's really close to maybe even not even a second round pick. So that's what the package got to be. The team's got to be considering when they look at a guy like Justin Fields. Yes, he has all the God-given ability in the world, but it has not translated to consistency on the field, right? It's been flashes, but it's not been consistent. So you have to be smart about that, and you want to have a team and an offensive coach that's definitely is going to, make sure that he's going to be the guy. So that's what we got to see. So, right, that's what we got to see. Right. So, but he's the only guy I would trade for. Right. And then the last option, guys, would definitely be free agency. Right. Free agency is the last option. And right now, if you want to go in free agency, what you're trying to do is probably going to get a veteran quarterback. Like I said, one that might probably get cut here before the new league year would be Russell Wilson. If the Atlanta Falcons want to go down that route and get a veteran quarterback like Russell Wilson, maybe you might be able to get him from a discount, because he's still going to be getting paid by the Denver Broncos. So that could definitely be an option, right? Or you could go get Kirk Cousins, a guy who's that dude made a lot of money in NFL and only won 1 playoff game, but he is a solid, veteran quarterback that has a lot of skills and could take a team, like the Atlanta Falcons to the playoffs. So that could be a decision. We don't know. Hopefully we get more info when we hear, Raheem talk at his press conference and things like that to determine what the Atlanta Falcons should do. But, he's still coming off an Achilles injury. He wants $90 million. Personally, I don't know if I would sign Kirk Cousins either. So, in all, my opinion, what the Atlanta Falcons should do is try to get one of these rookie quarterbacks, and for me, it will be either Caleb Williams or Jalen Daniels. If not, try to get Justin Fields. And then for consolation, I guess Penix Jr. would be my fourth option if I had to go that route. So, but that's where I'm at with quarterbacks, guys. I think this is one of the biggest storylines into this season, and it's going to be huge for Raheem Morris, right? To get this right, him and Terry Fontenot, they have to be able to nail the quarterback position. They got to figure it out. And hopefully, it's, for the future, not just for this season, but for the future as well, right? They have to be able to figure this thing out. Like I stated, if you don't have a quarterback, if you just looked at the games yesterday, championship games, and the quarterback play was huge. Either the quarterback played well or he didn't. You saw the quarterback play, and it really boils down to win and losses. Yes, it's a team sport. Fumbles and play calling and all that stuff matters. But when you have solid quarterback play, and in particular, if you look what Patrick Mahomes was able to do to set the tone, right? I mean, if you think about it, they only scored 3 points the last 3 quarters, but he came out and set the tone, took the crowd out, of the game, and then he pretty much managed the game to no turnovers, no negative plays, put his defense back out there. And sometimes that's what you need to do as a veteran quarterback. Just don't lose the game for you. Then you look at a guy like Brock Purdy. He made some plays in that second half, right? Mr. Irrelevant himself. He really did. But the quarterback play, I thought Jared Goff played solid enough to win the game. That's when you look at the team, being young and just having mistakes at the wrong time. And you can say the same thing about, the young players on the Baltimore Ravens. But I thought Lamar Jackson played below his level. He played substandard. So a lot of the blame for the Ravens loss, in my opinion, can definitely go on Lamar. I'm not taking anything away from that play calling because it was atrocious, not running the ball and things like that. But Lamar did not play to his standards. And, that's what happens. If you don't play to your standards and you got another good quarterback on the other sideline, you probably going to end up losing the game. And that's what it boils down to for me. So we can talk about coaching. We can talk about play calling. We can talk about so much. But if you don't have a quarterback, you don't even have a start, man. And that's the truth. You got to be able to start at the quarterback position, because if you don't start there, so this is the biggest thing that Atlanta Falcons got to get right, is determining which direction they're going to go at the quarterback position. I think it's a lot of different avenues they can go down, a lot of different approaches that they can take. But I think in the end, the Atlanta Falcons got to make a decision. I gave you guys my opinion. I think they should, trade up if they can, right? That means Chicago is keeping Justin Fields, try to trade at number 1, get the best quarterback that you think is in the draft. If they're not keeping Justin Fields, trade for Justin Fields, right? Young 25-year-old that has a lot of potential. Hopefully you can groom it. Make sure you don't get robbed in the trade package for him, because he's not worth, high trade picks, but I still will look at it. And then, last option would be going in free agency, get one of those older guys to get you, but that's not a long-term plan. So that's my least favorite. It's going to get a Wilson or a Cousins that would be my last option. If I was looking at what I need to do, as a new coach. Now, Archie Smith, if he was still here, definitely I could see him going that route because, he was going to be on the hot seat regardless. But, Raheem Morris, just getting here, he need to get him a young quarterback and see can they grow together. That's what I think. So this is going to be a big decision, man. It really is. I can't wait to see how it unfolds. And, we'll start to get little sprinkles here because Chicago does have to make a decision soon what they're going to do. Or they could take it all the way up to the draft. We don't know. They might do that. They might play games and take the the Justin Fields saga all the way up to the draft, and we don't know if they're going to draft a quarterback or not. So a lot of the Falcons need to do their due diligence. They need to look at all these quarterbacks in the draft. Get ready. Look at the Senior Bowl. We know Penix Jr. is there right now. You get the combines, you get the pro days, you get to see all that. Need to do their due diligence on each quarterback and decide, what route that they're going to take, right? So that's what I think. Wallace says, let's look at this right here. Guys, I try to get everybody comment, so it's rookie quarterback or Fields with Russell as possible if released. There you go. That's how would I rate the quarterback play yesterday? Like I said, Patrick Mahomes won because I thought he played good the whole game. Just control the game pretty much. I know he didn't score 3 points the last 3 quarters, but not getting negative plays, not turning the ball over, it was just brilliant because he took them out early with those 14 early points. Then you got to give it up to Brock Purdy, man. His second half was just amazing. Third, you would give it up to Jared Goff. I thought Jared Goff played solid, man. Some of his receivers let him down. He had a couple errant throws, but for the most part, his receivers would catch balls. I think they probably win that game. And then Lamar Jackson just didn't play the part. He's going to win MVP this year, but he did not play up to par. That's how we rate the quarterbacks yesterday. What do you think about the Lions coach called the game? Yeah, man, he should have took the points. I understand going for 4th down in regular season and stuff like that, but man, it's for the Super Bowl. Like, get the points, man. At least we tied. Like, I'd rather go to overtime or anything. Like, sometimes you got to change up, man. And I think he should have took the points. Call about Jake Browning and call about Hendon Hooker and see what those teams are talking about. Yeah, I'm going to pass on both of those. We see what Hendon Hooker did in college. We haven't seen anything he did in the pros, man. Like, I don't want to go with another Desmond Ridder. Let's base with him. I don't want to take that chance, right? Because if Raheem Morris was to do something like that and be like, these guys are going to be our starting quarterback, yeah, he's setting himself up. I don't think that's a good idea. Wallace says, what's good, Ricondo? I just read that Jimmy Lake from the Rams is our DC. We just got there earlier. I'm gonna report on that in just a minute, guys. After I get off the call with you, but yep, I talked about him earlier. His ability to started at the defensive backfield as a defensive back coach, went to defensive coordinator, head coach at University of Washington. Being the assistant head coach at the Rams, had spent time at defensive back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he has experience as actually being a DC. He has head coach experience as well. So it's a good guy to add. Unknown, right? It's an unknown guy that we definitely wasn't expecting to be named the defensive coordinator. But you like Raheem Morris's building his own team, right? This is what it is. We knew he's bringing his own guys in, guys that he's familiar with, guys that he trusts. That's what he's doing, and you got to like that. I think we had to see what we do in free agency first, so we can know, where to go in free agency. For me in free agency, I think the Atlanta Falcons should go edge rusher if all possible. That should be their number thing they should be targeting in free agency. Wide receivers, we only got one wide receiver, on the books right now, but you can get wide receivers out the draft. You can get, bring some of the guys back you had this year. You definitely need another ace, but I definitely would go defensive pass rusher in the free agency first. That's where I would look first. It's just me. We would trade y'all Carr for Bijan. Hell no. Hell no. We don't want no Derek Carr. That was a good one. I think Cousins is going to re-sign with the Vikings. I heard that he's going looking for a 3-year deal worth $90K. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. But he's still recovering from an injury, man. I don't know if they're going to get him that deal. I don't know. Team is going to make it easy for us to trade or move in the draft and get a quarterback because our current roster. Yep, they're not going to make it exactly. I agree with you. I don't think they're going to make it easy either. But I still don't think we're going to be able to trade some of our players. I just don't see that happening, right? So that's just me. Emil says, do you think Jake Browning can play in this league? He definitely showed it when Burrow officially went down. Yeah, he did, man. He did, but like when guys do something, once the starter goes out, right? And then they kind of revert back to some of the other stuff. I think he can play. I think he's a good solid backup. And I don't think that unless he was to go be a starter somewhere, I don't see the Cincinnati Bengals let him go. So Bengals are not letting Browning go. Wallace, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they'll let Browning go. So hell no, I don't see that happening. So definitely don't see that happening. Don't see that happening. All right. So guys, you guys let me know what you think about these 3 different quarterback scenarios. Like I said, you can go in the draft, definitely draft somebody and see how that pans out. You can make a trade, right? The only person I would trade for currently is Justin Fields. That's my opinion. And then you can go into free agency. And right now, it's 2 guys potentially you can make free agency: Kirk Cousins and, of course, Russell Wilson. Keep in mind, there's a lot of quarterback needy teams. So it's not like the Atlanta Falcons is the only team that need a quarterback, right? So we have to also keep that in mind when we start thinking about trades and and packages and things like that, because we might get outbidded for certain players and stuff like that. Even to move up in the draft, we can get outbidded. So we have to consider those aspects as well, and then that will change decisions that they make if you get outbidded because you're not willing to this is your stopping point or what you're willing to give up in a trade package. And that's what you have to do. So that's, in my opinion, that's how they have to look at it, right? Go for what but have a point where, I'm not going past this point in no trade, right? You have to think about that. And other teams could get desperate and do it, but you have to have a point, stick to your guns, and then make a decision that way. That's what I think. It's a lot of teams that need a quarterback, man. Like I said, the first 3 teams we know in the draft definitely probably looking for a quarterback. Las Vegas might be looking for a quarterback. So it's quarterback needy teams that's out there. So the Atlanta Falcons not the only team right? So we got to consider that as well. I see them moving TJ Yates to quarterback coach with Arthur Smith. Should have done. Yeah, I talked about that earlier. Yeah, TJ Yates is going to be the quarterback coach. I mean, that's what he played in the NFL. I don't know why he was a wide receiver coach. And we need to get a real wide receiver coach. Somebody can teach these guys how to run routes, right? Because I think that was kind of lacking as well. 330 say Brown to make 200K. Yeah, he's gonna get paid soon though. As a backup, he can get paid solid for those guys. Whichever direction we have to go to get us a quarterback, I'm on board. It got to be the right quarterback though. I'm on board as well, but it got to be the right quarterback. Zach Rod was a quarterback as well, though, right? And TJ teaching whatever quarterback comes in should definitely work 100%. You know, the coolest thing about quarterbacks like TJ Yates, right? Because he wasn't really, you know, real good in the pros. Those are the best teachers, man, because he can teach what he, you know, what to do what he wasn't able to do. So I like TJ going up to be the quarterback coach. I really do. And this team is starting. The coaching assistants starting to come in, but we still don't know what the Bears are going to do yet. But of course, that's really the question right there. What the Bears going to do? That's really going to determine a lot for a lot of teams, not just for the Falcons, for other teams as well, because they got the number one overall pick. It's going to be the next move we do is get a wide receiver coach. I hope so. We got to get a wide receiver coach, and I wonder who that's going to be. All right, guys, that's it for today. Definitely let me know what you think about these different quarterback scenarios that's out there. We definitely going to hear more and more as the weeks go. Definitely hear more from Raheem Morris on February 5th when he actually does his press conference. Hopefully he can shed some light on this particular question here about the quarterback position. Definitely you can already, the cake stuff that he's gonna be like, yeah, Desmond Ritter. I really like what Desmond Ritter do. I think we can work with him. We already gonna hear that kind of stuff. I know, but believe me when I tell you guys, they're gonna go try to find a quarterback. So that's good. He said, but at least TJ played enough to understand the position. Yes, you're 100% right. All right, guys. Let me know what you think about a quarterback. Who would you go? What I want to hear about, what direction would you go in? Would you go in a draft? Would you go in a trade? Would you go in free agency? Please let me know. Put your comments out there. Share and like this thing, and I'll be back with you guys here soon. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.